Hello, my name is Dylan Faullin, and I'm a math instructor at Dodge City Community College. And what I'm going to do for you right here is show you how to solve this equation. 3/2 x plus 1 over 3 equals 1/4 x minus 1 over 6. And this problem, I probably imagine, is scaring you just by looking at it because of all the fractions, and we all hate fractions, and so this one has a bunch of them. It makes it especially intimidating. But I'm going to tell you about a little trick here to deal with these fractions. So yes, there's multiple fractions here, but we can make them all go away pretty easily. All right, the trick to solving this equation, to eliminating the fractions, is to multiply both sides of the equation by the least common denominator of all the fractions from both sides of the equation. So we consider all four of these fractions, figure out what the least common denominator is, and then multiply that to the left-hand side and to the right-hand side, and I promise what will happen is the fractions will all be canceled out, and then you'll have a nice ordinary equation to solve. Right? So we need to consider all the denominators here, the 2, the 3, the 4, and the 6. Right? So considering all four of those numbers, what would the least common denominator be? If you want to pause the video, go ahead and pause it and see if you can figure it out. The common denominator, the least common denominator, is going to be 12. Right. So what we're going to do is multiply 12 to both sides of this equation. So I'm going to multiply 12 to the entire left-hand side, and in order to be sure that that happens correctly, we are going to use parentheses. So we're going to take the 12 and multiply it to the entire left-hand side, and multiply 12 to the entire right-hand side. And so the proper way to guarantee that happens is to use parentheses. Right? And what we're going to do with the 12 when we multiply it to the entire left-hand side is we are going to distribute the 12. Right, so we'll distribute the 12, and it gets multiplied to each term on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side the 12 will get multiplied to each term on the right-hand side. Now, since this 12 is going to have to get multiplied to these fractions in all four cases, it might be helpful to think of the 12 as a fraction also. So we'll think of the 12 as 12 over 1, and we'll do that on both sides of the equation as well. And so what we're going to get here on our next step is we'll have 12 over 1 being multiplied to 3/2 x, and 12 over 1 being multiplied to 1/3. On the right-hand side, we will have, I'm going to go ahead and sling it in front, 12 over 1 being multiplied to 1/4 x, and 12 over 1 being multiplied to the 1/6. Right, so the 12 over 1 gets multiplied to all four terms, both on the left and the right-hand side. And so in each individual case here, you're going to have to simplify. So this might be the most difficult part of doing this little trick. And again, the way I like to do this when I'm going to multiply two fractions together is I try to reduce everything as much as I can first, and then I'll multiply them together. And so I see the 2 here in this first term. The 2 is going to get canceled out with a factor of 2 from this numerator, and essentially what happens is we're dividing by 2 in both cases. So it's like dividing this by 2 and dividing this by 2, and what we're going to have left over here is a 6. Now this 6 here still has to get multiplied to this 3, and on the bottom here what we're going to have left over is a 1. So then we have this 1 times 1 here, and so ultimately what we're going to get is 18 over 1x, which 18 divided by 1 is just 18. So if you wanted to, you could just go ahead and write that as 18. Right. Do that for all the other terms as well. Right, the 3 here is going to cancel out with a factor of 3 from the 12. It's going to leave me with a 4. That 4 still has to get multiplied to this 1 here when I multiply these fractions together, and so I get 4 on top. And on the bottom, there's a 1 left over. When the 3 cancels out, 1 times 1 is going to be 1. Right. Do that on the right-hand side as well. 4 here cancels out with a factor of 4 from this 12, and if I divide out a factor of 4 from that 12, I'll have a factor of 3 left over. Right. This 3 still has to get multiplied to this 1, so we're going to get 3 over 1x, and the 6 here cancels out with the 12, leave me with a factor of 2, so we'll get 2 over 1. And there's 1s left in both of these cases in case you're curious. Alright, so I'm going to finish this problem here in the next video, so make sure you watch part 2 to see how this ends.